I feel like the world needs a quick pulse check on how good AI agents have gotten over the past few months. You've probably seen a ton of headlines about model releases and new features and functionality across all of the big labs. And the truth is, the entire AI industry is moving at light speed. So let me just bring to life for you what that actually means. So let's say you're a marketer and you have some sort of thought leadership. In this case here, I was on the Accenture website. They're one of our big partners, and they come out with this amazing thought leadership around agentic commerce. This is basically how people are going to start using agents to do shopping. So as a marketer on the team, I want to turn that into public-facing content for the website. And this is a really common practice. You might have thought leadership at your company that you then want to turn into other derivative assets. So this is what it might feel like as a marketer on that team. And imagine this. You're not just doing all of your work in Writer. There's probably a ton of different systems that you have to use before you could just push a blog post to your website. So this is what we're going to do. I'm going to go into Writer. I'm going to basically word vomit into Writer, explaining to my agent what I'm trying to accomplish today. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to upload that report. This is like a 33-page research report. Now, in addition to that, I'll also call out here that we're going to need to connect to the different systems that the agent needs access to. So in fact, we want Adobe Workfront. This is where we manage our tasks as a company, right? So maybe we're using Workfront as like the place where we can trace all of the work that we've done. So I'll activate that connector. We also need WordPress. This is where our blog is hosted. So we have our CMS connected to the agent so it can orchestrate across it. So let's just start there. And I might say something like this. I'm part of the Accenture team. I'm responsible for taking all of our thought leadership and turning it into blog posts for the website. What I want to do right now is turn this agentic commerce research paper into a customer-facing blog post. Specifically, I want to push it directly to our WordPress. So what I want to do is I want to create a Workfront project that documents all of the different steps we need to take before we can push this blog post live. And then I want you to actually create the draft of the blog for me so I can check it out before we make that official. And then we ship it. And now what happens is the agent just starts to get to work for us. It actually breaks down that task into subtasks, and it starts to plan out how it's going to get that work done. So what you can see here at the bottom is it's actually going to show us, hey, here are all of the steps I'm going to take to actually accomplish this. Number one, I'm going to acquire a PDF skill to extract all of the context from that research paper. I'm then going to make sure that I have the connector set up for those different systems that we want to connect to. And you can see it's actually just checking things off as it does the work. Here's the great part. I now can go work on something else. So while this agent is creating the first draft of this blog for us, we can go and respond to emails or do other work that we should be doing. I am oftentimes running dozens of these agents at any given time. And the benefit of Writer is because we spin up a virtual environment for each of these, instead of just using my own computer to do the work, it's actually using its own virtual environment to do that work. So we basically spin up secure instances for each of these different tasks. So let's let this run for a bit, and then I'll come back when the Workfront project is created and we have a draft in WordPress. Okay, amazing. The agent worked for 4 minutes and 13 seconds, and it got back to us with not only the Workfront project it created, but then the blog post draft. So I might say something like this. I might actually just say, before I take a look at this draft right here, I might say, can you send me a link directly to the Workfront project and the WordPress draft so it's easy for me to find? Okay, awesome. So we have the Workfront project, so I'm going to tab that out. And then for the WordPress draft, we have the actual blog example, so the draft of the post, and then where we can edit it in the dashboard. And what I think is really cool is the agent recognized that we're talking about agentic commerce. So therefore, it should go on the retail and consumer goods and thought leadership part of the website. So that's actually where this will populate. It said, okay, this is the section of the site where that blog would be relevant. So let's take a look at the Workfront project first. So we click in and we have all of these different tasks. So it's like the content review and fact check part. This is like where you assign out either this to another agent or maybe just to a human on the team, right? To do these different steps of the process. And then of course we could check out what the blog actually looks like. So let's take a look at the preview and then see if we need to edit it. So right here, is your brand invisible to AI? How agentic commerce is rewriting the rules of buying. So this is awesome. What a good head start here. And it's pulling real facts directly from the research. A majority of consumers will complete purchases in AI conversations that did not start with an intent to buy. That's really interesting. You can see here that we can edit it in the back end, right? The agent queued all of this up, which makes my life as a marketer much more enjoyable. But let's take this one step further. Imagine we wanted to make sure that the latest and greatest SEO and GEO keywords were peppered throughout this piece. I can actually use another connector that we have, Semrush, to do that. So I can say, I actually want to optimize the content for SEO and GEO. Can you use our Semrush connector, identify the most relevant keywords that should be part of this blog, and then rewrite the blog with those keywords. Make sure you get my approval before we make any changes to the WordPress site. So something I love about this experience, as you're watching the agent do the work, you can actually back out here. You can always go back to any step the agent took. Observability is so important. You have to make sure you're able to follow along with what the agent is doing. So not only do we have a full trace of every single action it took and all of the different tool calls it made, but you can actually see here for every single step, it's kind of like a really handy to-do list. So you're basically treating this as an intern and saying, hey, for everything that you do, come back to me and say, yes, I accomplished this task or I did not. And this is how it kind of feels when you work with agents side by side. So let's take a look at what's happening. You can see on the left-hand side, we have Writer searching for the integrations with Semrush. It finds that connector. It then says, okay, let's run a report to see which of the keywords we should focus on. And it comes back with highly relevant content. So you can see here, we're actually already starting to rewrite the blog. So the agent's working pretty quick, but it's saying, hey, agentic AI should be there. Agentic commerce news, GEO optimization. The GEO strategy, what is agentic commerce and agentic commerce definition, shows strong answer engine intent. So I'll add a direct definition block early that AI engines like Perplexity and ChatGPT can cite. So take a look at this. In real time, you're kind of seeing how this feels. We have new kind of key structural changes for the SEO and GEO optimized content that we just pulled from. So we can take a look at this new blog and we can say, okay, writer, does the optimized draft look good to you? Happy to tweak anything before I push it to WordPress. We review the post. Yep, this looks good. No, this doesn't look good. We'll give it real-time feedback, be as harsh as possible. And then I'll say, this all looks great. Let's push it to WordPress and let's generate a hero image at the top so it looks really kind of polished. Okay, so the agent just finished up. We see the SEO and GEO optimized content and hero image are now live in that WordPress draft. So let's take a look at it. Let's see how we did. Awesome. Wow. Okay, so I can immediately tell, it kind of got the Accenture branding with this, cool futuristic looking purple image. Love that. And now you can see some of the terms that we were looking for now kind of peppered throughout from a GEO perspective. And what I really love about this is if we go back in, you can actually go directly to the back end of WordPress here. Again, this is what the agent is populating for us. You can really start to feel how different and amazing this experience is for the marketer. We can just go over here to publish and let's just publish this immediately. And this will now go directly to our site. So we can see it here on the website live. And imagine you have a lot of thought research, and this is a process that you do all of the time. What Writer is amazing at is taking processes like this and turning them into a standardized playbook that the rest of the team can just leverage without having to do any of the prompting that you just did. So what I just did was I clicked Create Playbook. What that does is it takes our entire session and it says, okay, how can we turn this into a repeatable use case for the rest of our team to follow? So this is our research to SEO optimized blog pipeline playbook. You can see here that it already pulls in the connectors that we care about. And this takes each of those steps that we just followed and turns them into a playbook, basically a plan that the agent can follow in the future. And the coolest part is I can share this out with the rest of my team. So now anybody on my team, maybe the customer success team, might get value out of turning our research posts into the SEO optimized blogs. So I'll end here. This is truly where AI is today. And I think so many people are getting caught up in the model updates and caring less about the actual work that is changing. And holy cow, it's really cool. So if you have any questions, hit me up. This stuff obviously gets me fired up. Thanks.